Well, good afternoon and welcome to Daytona State College. I am pleased you all could be here for this very special ceremony as we honor a friend to the college who has helped make so much of this possible through her work, dedication, and advocacy. Before we begin, there are a few people here I'd like to introduce, some of whom you'll be hearing from in a few minutes. From our District Board of Trustees, Dr. Randy Howard, Chair. There he is, okay, thank you. Betty Holness, Vice Chair. Mr. Bob Davis. Randy Dye. Lloyd Freckleton. Marianne Haas. Bob Lloyd, and Gary Lubai. I'd also like to take a moment to introduce our guest of honor and her family, Ms. Forough Hosseini. Maury Hosseini. And her immediate family is here, as well as Hosseini's travel with a lot of people, and it's always great to see him. Such a great family. Her immediate family, we have Nellie and Andrew Lapoli, daughters Nina Hosseini and Nika Hosseini. Some of our elected officials, I believe Congressman Michael Waltz and his wife, Dr. Julia Neshelwat, is here, or on his way. Unfortunately, Senator Wright was called by the governor and had to head down to Brevard County, so he had to head down there. But for Senator Wright is Lindsay Swindle. There's Lindsay in the back. Representative Tom Leake. Tom. Councilwoman Barbara Gertman. Councilwoman Billy Wheeler. Billy, make it? She's here, I see her. And then Councilwoman Heather Post. Heather, make it? I don't know if I saw her yet. From our foundation chair, Dennis Shelley. There's Dennis, thank you, Dennis. Dan Francotti. Rufus Johnson. Bill Lenson. I think I saw Bill. Lucino, and Greg Snell. And from the Center for Women and Men Advisory Board, did Dr. Mary Bruno make it? There she is. Good to see you, Mary. So with any construction project, there's always a lot of people behind the scenes, so I do want to recognize our Facility Advisory Committee group that's here today. They've put a lot of work into the projects on our campus, so I want to give a shout out to Rodney Cruz, our chair, Chad Hazen, Jim Codis, and Dick Smith. Okay. The building you see behind me has a long history at the college. It was originally built in 1966 and for many years was known as our Student Center. For more than 50 years, it was the gathering place for thousands of students, staff, faculty, and visitors. When the Student Center functions moved to the new L. Gale Lemron Student Center, the doors to this building were temporarily closed while we worked on a plan that would enable us again to utilize the facility to its full potential. It didn't take long to determine that it was the perfect location to house one of our most important student services, the Center for Women and Men, to join the existing Veterans Center already located here. This unit of our college offers support to segments of our student population whose needs often extend beyond the scope of other departments on campus, and their services that they provide are essential for many students who otherwise would be unable to continue their education. Over the last several months, in preparation for its new occupants, the 55-year-old building has undergone extensive renovation. They've given us a wonderful new look that combines some of the modern aesthetic of our new student center with the historical elements that were already in place. But there was more to this project than design and physical construction. There was much discussion about who the facility should be named. When thinking about the functions planned for the building, it didn't take long to know whose name would be the perfect match. Forough Hosseini served on Daytona State College District Board of Trustees for 13 years, including 6 years as chair before stepping down in 2019. Her leadership while serving on the board has propelled the college to new heights, and so much of what we have today can be attributed to her efforts. She worked to increase degree offerings and enrollment and believed we could do so while lowering tuition, and we did. She helped forge new partnerships with our state universities such as UCF and the University of Florida that would open more doors for our associate degree graduates. A new workforce and health sciences building on the Daytona campus is underway because Forough fought for the funding we needed before the state legislature. The Flagler Palm Coast campus has a new state-of-the-art facility too, which has also allowed us to expand our offerings to students in Flagler County. And our $32.6 million L. Gale Lemron Student Center, which has been transformational for this campus and all the students who are taking full advantage of its services. Our athletic program has grown also to include nationally ranked cross-country and soccer teams and a beautiful new soccer stadium that allows us to host national events and showcase our campus. Her advocacy and gentle threats to her husband, Maury, have garnered tens of millions of dollars to our institution, including $2 million for this building behind me. I will never forget the first time Forough, Maury, and I flew to Tallahassee to meet with legislators regarding a number of initiatives and projects we were looking for that year. After she reminded Maury several times to put Daytona State College priorities first or else, and Maury, we thank you for that, we landed and headed off to the Capitol. Maury with his list of Volusia and Flagler County priorities, Forough and I with our DSC list. I was amazed. First, her energy and passion for our institution was genuine. Her knowledge of our needs and issues were amazing. And this passion never waned, as I remember on our very last trip together 5 years later, and after pitching our needs to Senate President Galvano, how moved he was that she took the time to share with him in great detail and again passionately on how important our needs were and how it will impact the lives of Daytona State students. And I believe the Senate President said Maury is going to have to give up a project at UF. Oh, the good old days, Forough. In that last year, we received $5 million for the Daytona building, as well as $450,000 for a new scheduling platform that significantly helps students be efficient in pursuing their educational goals. Everywhere you look throughout the entire college, you see signs of Forough's influence, but nowhere is it more evident than it is here, in the building that will now bear her name. Forough has led the charge in providing for DSC students beyond the classroom while addressing their social needs as well. Her leadership and vision were the impetus that resulted in her most impactful initiative for our vulnerable students, a comprehensive 10-step plan to eradicate hunger and homelessness, a plan that is now used as a model for the State Board of Education. Because of that, our students now have a food pantry. They have free textbooks, free bus passes, free access to medical services at Halifax Health and Advent Health, housing at Hope Place, and much more. All of these things are offered through our Center for Women and Men, which is now housed right here in Forough B. Hosseini Hall. Let's give her a round of applause. The Veterans Center is another testament to Forough's work and commitment. It opened in 2012 to provide targeted services for active duty and former members of the military and their families who wish to pursue college degree or further their education. Because of her efforts, Daytona State has been recognized by U.S. News and World Report as one of the best schools in America for veterans to receive a bachelor's degree, something that would not have been possible without Forough's encouragement to go beyond what we already were doing and expand our efforts to those who served our country. As you tour the facility, the Veterans Center is not yet moved in, but plans are in motion. When you consider all Forough has done to support the needs of our students, particularly those who sometimes need additional assistance, it is easy to see why a place such as this should be named in her honor. It is a place where Daytona State can now provide the resources our students need in order to achieve their dream of a college education, even while facing some of life's most serious challenges. Forough B. Hosseini Hall is a place that represents the essence of who she is and her tremendous impact on this institution. With that, I say thank you for your friendship and your leadership throughout the years, and for all you have done for Daytona State College. Your impact on students will be felt for generations to come. At this time, I'd like to invite our current District Board of Trustees, Dr. Randy Howard, to the podium.
Thank you, Tom, and I certainly echo those sentiments. I too appreciate all of the things the Hosseini family has given to us throughout the years. Make no mistake, we would not have been able to achieve the level of success we have without this family's support. They and several others here today are just so important to the economic vitality of Daytona Beach, Volusia, and Flagler counties, and all of the communities we serve. I think the facts are very clear. Higher education plays a key role in improving family income and attracting industry that in turn create new jobs and opportunities for all of our residents. And sometimes the differentiator between success and failure is the private support of one individual. There are people in this room whose time, talent, and treasures have directly impacted this generation and many more to come. But today, we are really here to talk about just one of those individuals, Forough Hosseini. True leaders in higher education leave legacies that expand the role of colleges, push the boundaries of what's possible, and remind us we're often called upon to do more than just provide a traditional classroom education or a degree. We have a responsibility to ensure that every student has a legitimate opportunity to succeed once they're here. And that takes additional resources and first-class individuals working together to make it happen. The reason that is possible at Daytona State is because of forward-thinking people such as Forough Hosseini, who freely gave whatever was required to see her vision become a reality. The Veterans Center and the Center for Women and Men represent the best of what Daytona State College has to offer its students. These organizations exist to support the needs of those who have dedicated their lives to the service of our country and the needs of students, many of them first generation, who require additional resources to achieve their dreams of earning a college education. And the impact of the Veterans Center and the Center for Women and Men extends far beyond the time horizon of these students here on campus. It allows them to build a foundation that can support them for the rest of their lives, and it paves the way for them to realize their full potential. What they experience here may be life-altering, not just for themselves, but for their families and their families' future generations. This is why education is key to creating a better future for an entire community. When you read our mission statement, it lists 6 values that drive everything we do: community, integrity, excellence, diversity, innovation, and student success. All of these values are put into practice in the Center for Women and Men and the Veterans Center on a daily basis. The staff in these departments work to ensure that every student who commits to an education at Daytona State receives an equal commitment from us. It's what we pledge to uphold, and it's why I'm pleased we can honor a person who has represented those values more than anyone I have ever known. When I think of many of the things Forough stood for on her time on the District Board of Trustees, there is one that stands out, and you heard Tom mention it earlier. It's putting the needs of the student first, wherever they may be in their life journey, and no matter who they are or what their circumstances are. And in order to accomplish that, you must also be willing to meet them wherever they are. And for some of our students, Forough B. Hosseini Hall is now that place. It symbolizes everything she believes in, and it stands as a perfect testament to her work. Its doors are open today because of her diligence in acquiring funding and support from the state legislature. It serves our students because of her compassion for the women and men of our community. And it functions as a starting point to a brighter future, a safe haven for those who need it, and a place where anyone can find the tools they need to achieve a dream that is now within their grasp. All of that is part of Forough's vision, a vision that we must all be responsible for continuing. I know there are many students who are grateful for what Daytona State College has provided them, and we are so grateful to Forough for helping make so many of those things possible. From the Daytona State College District Board of Trustees, I want to say thank you for your leadership, your generosity, and for remaining true to a purpose that gives our students the chance to reach their personal goals, no matter what challenges they face. Thank you so much. Congressman Waltz, we're so excited that you were able to join us today. If you'd like to come up and say a few words, we would greatly appreciate that.
Thank you so much, and I'm thrilled to be able to make this special event. I'm also thrilled to be joined today by my better half, Dr. Julia Neshawat, who just finished a year as the President's Homeland Security Advisor, was a former Chief Resiliency Officer for the state of Florida, and most importantly, has more combat tours than I do. So Maury, we have a lot of things in common, but one of the main things we have in common is that we're literally scared of our better halves. Right? Me too, every day. And now, and I have the real honor to add to my list of titles to be her plus one, as now we got engaged over the holidays. Thank you. Just very quickly, I'm just continue to be in awe of your family. It truly does, and I know you've heard this before, I've said it before, and I'll say it every time. It just exemplifies the American dream. And right now we need, as a country, we need that kind of leadership. We need that example where you come here, you play by the rules, you work hard, you live a great life, you enjoy success, but the critical thing is then you give back. You give back to this great nation that has afforded so many of us so many great opportunities. And you'd be hard pressed to find a family that's given back to this community more than you, Forough, more than you, Maury, more than your entire family. I see Miriam over there as well. So that's just one thing I always want to recognize. The next thing is I just love the mission of Daytona State. I spend a lot of time on the Science, Space, and Technology Committee, where we spend a lot of time figuring out ways to invest in the workforce of the future and research and development in STEM, and in particular, in getting more participation from women and minorities in STEM, which is sitting right now for women at about 30% and for minorities about 10%. We can't build the workforce of the future that we need without that kind of participation and without exactly what Daytona State is all about. We just can't. Literally the numbers aren't there. So you will always have my support for anything that this institution needs. Please call. And if you don't call, I know Forough will, and we'll get it done. The last thing is a lot of people talk a lot. Talk's cheap. Let me just be candid. Yelling at the television, posting on social media, arguing with your relatives over Thanksgiving, that's easy. Rolling up your sleeves to make your community better, really putting in the hard work to get it done, that's what this country is all about, and that's what you exemplify, Forough, and I'm just proud to call you a partner and a friend in trying to make this community even better than it already is. And finally, thank you for what you do for our veterans. You know that's near and dear to my heart. These are people that are literally willing to die at a very young age for everything, for this free air that we wake up every day breathing. My grandfather used to say that every day you wake up in America breathing free air, you won the cosmic lottery compared to the rest of the world. So I just want to especially thank you from the bottom of my heart, not just for the veterans, but for their families. You know, their families are the ones that really suffer. We volunteer to go do what we do. The families, you know, get us back often not the same, either mentally or physically, than when we left, and really have to live with that. So everything that this institution does and your family does is deeply, deeply appreciated. God bless, and thank you so much.
This is the first time I can stand in front of a podium and really say, Forough, no questions. I love you. On a serious note, thank you all for being here to mark this moment in time for DSC and the Center for Women and Men. I stand here today on behalf of Erin LeDuc, Center Director, and the advisory board members, and am honored to be able to witness the ribbon cutting for this building, because the center is truly my heartbeat. The Center for Women and Men opened at DBCC, now Daytona State College, in 1976. The grand opening was a result of a grant awarded in the amount of $33,610 that was penned by Ellen O'Shaughnessy and Dorothea Moore, who are still actively involved with the center as advisory board members today.
Every year, I gave ICE one meeting where I asked no questions. She did not mention that. And I think, Tom, you said gentle threats to Maury. Have you talked to Maury Hosseini about those gentle threats? You know, Tom spoke about our first trip to Tallahassee, and Maury, Tom and I are flying there. And of course, the most important things is about everything that we need at DSC. And he keeps texting, and I keep telling him, Maury, this is our priority number one, this is our priority number two, you need to know these facts. And he's like, okay, got it. And I'm like, there's only like 30 minutes to get to Tallahassee. What are you texting? He said, I'm texting all of my friends, all the legislature saying, watch out, my wife is coming. Needless to say, the following trips, somehow our schedules didn't work out. So Tom and I always just film ourselves. Good afternoon. Thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedules to help us celebrate this momentous occasion. Tom recognized my children and my husband. I'd like to recognize the rest of my family. I have my sisters, Ferry, Lale, Mariam here. I have my brothers, Reza. I don't know if my other brother Emoji is here. My nieces, Marjan, Liz, and Ida. And my nephews, any of my nephews are here besides Armin? And my oldest granddaughter, Ava Karga. Ava, can you stand up and wave to everyone? Baby. Other family members by association, not by blood, are Adam Samii, Charlene Erland, and Joni Hunt. You know, listening to Tom's speech, you probably thought, wow, Tom must have really enjoyed working with Forough throughout the years. He loved having her as the chair. Well, he wasn't so nice when I used to call him and say, Tom, I've been thinking. And he, instead of saying, oh my God, you are so kind to think about me and DSC issues, he would say, is it really my turn again? Why can't you think about Nellie? If it was via text, he would reply with those rolling eyes. emoji. I still haven't figured out why he and Nellie always encouraged me to think about the other. And they would actually call each other, Randy, and fight over, wasn't it your turn? No, it was your turn. No, it was your turn. I just don't really know exactly what that means. I was in North Carolina and I received an email about Hungry and Learn study. A pilot survey of 10 colleges from around the country assessing rates of food and housing insecurity among 4,000 participants. It was published in New York Times in 2014, on December 4th, 2014. One in five of more than 4,000 students who answered the survey said that they were hungry, and 13% were homeless. It didn't take a genius to figure out that if 20% of national college students are hungry, the numbers would not be much better at Daytona State College. I called Tom and I said, Tom, I've been thinking, and asked him to please consider this issue a priority. I wrote a 10-step plan while hiking in North Carolina. In my world, if you can't resolve any problems in 10 steps, then you're not an entrepreneur. I started with the mission of becoming the first public state college in the country to become homeless and hunger-free by 2020, if not earlier. As the chair of the college, I deeply believe that it was our responsibility to give every student the chance to be educated, and for us, the college community, to work tirelessly to remove most obstacles facing them, ensuring their success. This category of students, due to their circumstances, have a higher chance of dropping out. By paying special attention to their plight, DSC could help them graduate and become contributing members of our community. We signed up to participate in the study for the following year and the years after. The comprehensive 10-step plan was designed to address every aspect of a student dealing with poverty and homelessness. We concentrated on providing food and snacks, devised a lending library. We met with county officials and asked for them to provide bus passes specifically for our homeless students. We met with the CEOs of both hospitals and formed partnerships with them so our homeless students and their families can visit their clinics free of charge. This way, they wouldn't need to wait for a cold to become pneumonia and visit their emergency rooms. We had a designated person at Daytona State College just in charge of whatever issues this special category of students were facing. I went to Bob Davis and I asked if he can get vouchers from his member hotels and motels for free nights for when our students suddenly were without a shelter while they work on securing a permanent residence. I'm very grateful to you, Bob. I asked our campus food vendor to provide free meal vouchers to be given to students who couldn't afford a meal at our cafeteria. And 2016, 2017, we included eradicating homelessness and hunger on DSC campuses as one of our legislative priorities. We asked for funding to implement a strategic plan to completely and effectively take care of every student who enrolls at Daytona State College. And we stayed focused on it all the time. Staff reported on the stats of this initiative regularly at the board meeting. Tom still sends me emails sometimes with the PowerPoint of their presentations. Every time Governor Scott talked about colleges and students, he would mention DSC's success on this issue. And here we are, few years later, very, very successful. We always stayed within the 10-step plan, but we had 1A, 1B, 1C, 1A, 1, but it's still a 10-step plan. This building was the icing on the cake. Working on child, youth, and poverty since 2007, one issue was very important to me. In resolving the various issues they are facing, we need to keep one very important factor in mind: the recipient's dignity. By bringing all of our resources under one roof, I explained, the student who needs various resources can walk in, checking at the reception desk one time, and be able to receive various resources without having to go from office to office in different buildings, reiterating their situation to receive free food or a bus pass or access the lending library. It was essential for me to ensure these students are treated with utmost respect and dignity, to make the services readily available so that they don't hesitate to access them. Their success is DSC's success. Their success is our community's and our country's success. As far as the Veteran Center is concerned, Tom is correct. I was always asking for more money for the Veteran Center, making sure they always had coffee, snacks, and all the resources they need, that they receive special attention in everything they needed, from admissions to enrollment to financial aid. I believe we should do everything possible to help veterans who served us and our country. I am a big believer of taking care of those who took care of us by putting their lives on hold and their life on the line. Maury, you always gave me credit for flying to Tallahassee and making the case for DSC's priorities. You always told me that the legislators tell you that my passion shines through and that they tell you they will take care of Mrs. Hosseini before they take care of Maury Hosseini. I appreciated hearing it over and over again. You were always generous with your words. However, I knew better. I knew I make a good case. I am a very effective beggar. But I always knew that you closed every one of those deals for Daytona State College. You pushed and you pushed and you stayed on top of it so it doesn't get left out of any of the chamber's budgets. And then you kept a close eyes on them so the governor doesn't veto. We have had so many great opportunities at Daytona State College because you always lent us your political capital and your influence. As the past chair of this amazing institution and a proud resident of this community, I am grateful for all you have done for Daytona State College. Not so much for the Harvard of the Skies and all the efforts for BCU last year. I'm glad I wasn't the chair, otherwise I would have had a cow. I would have said, keep your eyes on the ball. It has DSC written all over it. For the past 13 years, except last year, I served on the board of trustees of this prestigious state college. I always did what was right for Daytona State College and our students. It wasn't always easy or popular, but 100% of my attention in every decision I made was concentrated on what is best for our students and the future of Daytona State College. I am grateful to DSC's Board of Trustees for bestowing this very prestigious and meaningful honor upon me. Again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to help me celebrate this very special occasion. I am honored. Julia and Mike, congratulations on your engagement. I'm very, very excited Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, and again, you know, it's an honor for us to name this building after you, Forough, for all you've done and sharing some of the inside baseball with Maury and how he goes to bat for us. And again, Maury, thank you from the bottom of our heart. At this time, we would like to gather for the ribbon cutting. Once we're done, we would like to invite everyone, if they feel free, to take a tour to look around. We'll do it in some small groups so we can maintain our social distance. And also, don't leave without a commemorative cookie, bookmark, and magnet for today's date. So at this time, we're going to start off with Maury and Forough.